Hi everybody, welcome back to the Fashion Bunker. Dacob here. Louis Vuitton owner Bernard Arnault, I think that's his name, yeah, has been tracked. LVMH founder, by the way, and Louis Vuitton owner has been tracked on Twitter. Apparently they know exactly where he is all the time, and he does not like that one bit. And so we're going to talk about how they're tracking him, what's going down, and why is this even a topic? Well, it's more interesting than you might think. So, subscribe to my channel first and foremost. Push the join button next to the subscription button. Become a member today. Gain access to extra perks. You can also join me on Patreon, superdacob, all spelled together there for extra perks. Thank you to my members and patrons who have already pledged. This video is being filmed live in front of a live virtual audience. I live stream every Saturday, and you're all invited to join the live chats. Cue in my co-chattors. Hey guys, how's it going? Vomitella Versace says, so, who did LVMH assault today? Interesting that you ask that, Vomitella, because as you guys know, just a week or so ago, I made a video about a little boy called Louis who is 12 years old and went to a Louis Vuitton show and wanted to take some pictures for his school because he's a little reporter for his school, but he also sells the pictures sometimes. And he was aggressed, allegedly, by a security guard that worked for LVMH at the venue. And you should check out that video because, like, he was slapped. He was called a dirty little F word. The little boy gave an interview later on. The interview is visible on Twitter. Anyway, everything I say in this video is for entertainment purposes only. Just my opinion, not rooted in truths or facts. Everything's alleged. Today, what we're going to talk about is Bernard Arnault has this private jet that, now, it's reported by the New York Post. They're reporting that the private jet is owned by the LVMH company. However, there's this other website I was checking that says that the private jet was his private jet. I'm like, if the company owns the private jet and he gets to use it whenever he wants to use it, and he owns the company, potato, tomato, tomato, right? But hey, okay, whatever it may be, this is what happened on Twitter. Some people on Twitter found a way to track where the private jet was at all times. There are apparently these tracking devices. It's like possible to do so. So there have been several Twitter accounts, allegedly, that have been tracking every move this private jet on which Bernard Arnault was always traveling, and they would track every move. So they would know where the jet was flying at any given time. Let's track the jet together was kind of the topic of these Twitter accounts. Now, Bernard Arnault did not like this one bit. Interesting is that since then, apparently, allegedly he claims that the jet has been sold, and now he doesn't fly with the private jet anymore, but he rents a different jet every time he wants to fly. Now, his reasoning behind not wanting to be tracked other than for personal security, which we do understand, but his, I think, alleged major concern was that the opposition, the competition, all the other brands, Chanel, Hermes, all the brands that are not under the dome of LVMH might know, according to where he's flying to, they might figure out what sort of next business move he's about to make, who he will meet with, who he's going to talk to, because if he's flying to one certain country, one certain city at a certain time, and then they know another person is there as well, he might be trying to strike a deal with this brand for that and that reason. So he made it a strategical thing to give a statement in an interview. Now, the New York Post says that the interview was given to Radio Classique, which allegedly, the radio that he was kind of crying on, is allegedly owned by LVMH as well. Interesting how, of course, they're going to spin it in your favor if the radio you're talking to is owned by your company. The shade. No, but listen, this is Bernard Arnault. Okay, he's a little bit long in the tooth. Okay, a little long in the tooth. And Mr. Arnault is estimated by Forbes to have a value of, I can't even visualize this amount, y'all, $150 billion, $700 million. That's his net worth, allegedly. Like, my eyeball pops out just trying to figure out 150 billion, $150.7 billion, okay? Now, before we get to the core of this whole conversation, let's just take a moment here. 150 billion is his worth. Now, LVMH is not just Louis Vuitton. It's Moet, Chandon, Hennessy, whiskey, champagne, Dior. All these brands are his, right? But you know, you go to a Louis Vuitton store, okay? You want to buy one of these plastic giblets, which we all love. I mean, I love my monogram, you know, don't get me wrong. And now you want to buy this and you find there's a flaw in the stitching or something. And then the sales associate, of course, is going to tell you, you know, this is handmade by artisans outside of Paris, in France, or in Italy, or in Spain, or in America. Some pieces are made in the US. You know, these people, you know, are properly paid. I'm like, honey, next time a sales associate at Louis Vuitton tries to push that shtick on you, you tell him, honey, listen, your boss, Mr. Arnault, is worth $150 billion. You think that that extra money that I'm paying for this goes into the hands of that artisan that made this by hand? That artisan would not be doing their job if they earned enough money to live off of it and buy themselves a house and have a life. No, the $150 billion that this dude is worth is because you're paying for crooked stitches of overpriced things. That money don't go into the pockets of those artisans making this bag. They go into this person's pocket. So the next time a sales associate tries to sell you that good old shtick, oh, this is handmade. Of course it's going to have imperfections. An artisan made it. It costs a lot of money. They're paid properly. No, he's paid properly. He's the one who's paid properly, not them, allegedly. I digress. Now we're going back to the topic at hand. Of course, now he has been criticized, obviously, also for having a private jet, even if it's of the company, and flying around with that private jet, because moving around so much on a private jet is polluting the climate, the environment. It's not sustainable. It's not eco-friendly. People are really, really annoyed by this. And of course, you know, climate activists have been criticizing him and also tracking his flight through Twitter and what have you. And so he's been highly criticized for that. The LVMH brand allegedly retaliates by saying, well, he needs to do business and he needs to be quickly in different parts of the world when we need to take him somewhere. He needs to have a private jet because business needs to be done quickly. When it's this height of business and blah, 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 it has to be, you know. I'm like, still, that's no excuse. He has to do it quickly for what? So that he can earn more money. Basically. Okay, great. What a great deal for the rest of us and for the world. Now, so allegedly the jet has been sold, and now he's let me show you the jet. So this is the jet, not the jet, but the same model that has been photographed and shown in the article. Also, I'm going to tell you that so the jet that he currently owns or allegedly owned and now the company sold is a Bombardier Global Express private jet worth an estimated 48 million euros. Let that sink in. So the jet was apparently sold and now he just flies private every time. Rents a jet, which is even worse, I think. I don't know what's worse, to be honest with you. It's all pretty bad. But the only person that's apparently richer than him is Elon Musk, who has also been tracked, allegedly flying because one person on Twitter made an account and was tracking Elon Musk's movings with his private jet. Elon Musk allegedly offered through DM on Twitter that person $5,000 to take down that Twitter account. Allegedly, the person responded, said, no, that ain't enough, and asked like $50,000 or $55,000 instead. And we do not know if Elon Musk gave him the money to take it down or not. But so this issue has been happening with a lot of really, really rich people and moguls, where they're kind of being scrutinized for being environmentally not friendly. Now, I gotta say, it's not just the issue of environmentalist stuff, you know, because it's not like him not taking a plane anymore is going to make the world a better place. He still owns half the world, allegedly, right? And I mean, I'm just kind of speaking figuratively here. He owns a lot of the luxury world. So much in the luxury world is not sustainable. This jet won't make it or break it. This jet, or not flying with this jet no more, is not going to save the planet either. A lot more has to change. Sure, stuff like this irritates him, obviously, because if he's kind of being, you know, criticized for this, and he's being kind of followed and tracked for wherever he's moving because he takes that private jet, that's definitely raising awareness. But it's just the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more that needs to be taken out in the open and changed. But what really irked me a lot about this story is the fact that he allegedly gave this interview to talk about, you know, how he feels violated, how he feels like this is a violation and this has to stop. And I'm like, well, okay, well, why didn't you give an interview about how you apologize for the security dude that LVMH hired at the LV event that slapped a 12-year-old boy who was taking pictures for his school and called him a dirty little F word? Why don't you talk about that in an interview? Why don't you address that? Why don't you address that instead of crying that how dare people track your private jet? Priorities much? Now, this article from the New York Post, I repeat, does state that the radio station that interviewed him is also owned by LVMH. I do not know that for a fact, just alleged. So, but if I were interviewing him as an independent interviewer, you best believe the conversation would veer towards the little kid. But then he would stop the interview probably, just my opinion here, I think. And it would not go far, you know. Usually people of that caliber, I think if anybody's allowed close to them in terms of interviews and journalism, I'm sure they're vetted, and I'm sure you can't just ask a question to a person like that. I'm sure there's like a wall behind wall behind wall. Like you can't just get to a person like that and ask a question like that. So and honestly, to be honest with you, I don't expect honesty from these people whatsoever, because if money is your only goal, then morals are not in the equation. Because morals and money don't go hand in hand. That's just the bottom line here. Anyway, I feel kind of appalled by this whole situation. Will that increase the jet's resale values? Go kidding. I mean, us regular people take a flight and it's tracked. True. Do we know if that jet is decked in Louis Vuitton monogram seats or what? Or Dior or whatever other brand he owns? I mean, you guys. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, because this is an interesting conversation. There's a lot of topics I touched base on in here, and it's really, really worthy to kind of really sit down for a second, think about it, and have a nice little convo in the comment section down below. So never give up on love. Let me know your thoughts and subscribe.